All right, this is a breakdown of my Sig Sauer M17 P320 with an AXG grip module. Just going over my history with the gun. I'm also going to go over how to suppress this effectively because I had a kind of a long process to do that. So I'll talk about that a little bit. This was my first personal firearm purchase. I inherited some firearms from my father. Took one up with me when I went to college. Just a Colt 38 Special Mark III police revolver. But I eventually decided that I wanted something semi-automatic for home defense, and I bought the Sig M17. It was pretty shortly after the M17 had been selected in the Army's handgun trials, and it edged out the Glock 19X. Is it a better handgun? Blah, blah, blah. I don't care. I was kind of a novice getting into firearms, like actual real firearms at the time, and the color won me over, and I thought it was pretty cool. So this was my first handgun purchase, and I really loved it. I have no regrets. It's an awesome pistol. To date, I think I've only had one malfunction on this pistol. I had a stovepipe, and that was like, I don't know, a year ago, and it was using some crap like underpowered steel case ammo. And that was only 1 out of 1,000 rounds of that steel case 9 that it had the stovepipe. So other than that, I've had no malfunctions on this gun, suppressing aside, and I've probably put almost 4,000 rounds through it. To some people that's a lot, to some people that's not very much. I'm not like sponsored by anybody buying me ammo, you know. I was just a poor college student buying ammo on my own, and I'm still just a working dude buying my own 9mm. So anyway, just start at the slide, I guess, regular M17 slide. So the M17 is cut for the Delta Point Pro. So my first optic, when I say after I bought it, I saved it and bought my first optic for this. I bought the Sig Romeo 1 Pro in FDE, which had the 6 MOA dot, and it was fine. It was my first time shooting with the red dot, and it was really cool. Man, shooting with a red dot for the first time, when you learn to find it quick enough, is like a superpower. It really helped me improve my shooting overall. And then I kind of learned about some reliability and some durability issues with the Romeo 1 Pro and the Romeo 1 series of pistol optics from Sig in general. And I had the money then to upgrade to something. And so I bought a Trijicon RMR, I think it's HRS. It's the tan one that is used by Special Forces. And I mean, the RMR is a proven optic. There's no question about that. I put maybe 300 or 400 rounds through it with the RMR, and I didn't like the sight picture of the RMR, and it had like a crazy blue tint. I know that's typical. It's normal for the RMR. But having come from the Romeo 1 Pro, while not as good of an optic overall in terms of durability compared to the RMR, the sight picture is awesome. Huge sight picture and super clear glass. So eventually I decided that I wanted something kind of enclosed with a bigger sight picture with less blue tint. And shortly after I made that decision, Sig came out with their Romeo 2, which is kind of like a modular handgun optic with a Delta Point Pro footprint, obviously, because they kind of designed this for people who had purchased the M17 with this hood where you put it on here and it's like you have an enclosed emitter optic. And I thought it was really cool. And after I watched Sage Dynamics' review on it, I thought, well, he beat the hell out of it, and it looks cool, and I'm looking for something new. So that's what I did. I sold my RMR and used the funds to buy this new from, I can never remember who I buy these things from. It was, as soon as I could find one online, it was like the only one on the entire internet that I could find for sale that wasn't being sold from Sig directly. Oh, Simmons Sporting Goods. That's who it is. They were the only people who had one. And I bought this. Honestly, I may have been one of the first people outside of like YouTuber reviewers to get my hands on this optic. I've had it for a really long time. And I've put probably 2,500 rounds on it so far. Out of the 4,000 rounds in this handgun, about 2,500 of those are with this. I've had zero problems. I haven't had any of the fogging issues that people may have had with the enclosed shell and stuff on top. My only complaint with this optic is that the brightness adjustment buttons are really tiny, and you really got to get your fingertip in there to actually adjust them. It's tactile. You can feel them when you press it, but they're too small for me, and they're just not big enough. But that said, I like the optic well enough that I have no plans to change it. It also comes with the little notch here that covers your loaded chamber indicator, because when you're shooting, it spews carbon out and can get on your optic lens, and that does. I didn't think it would do a good job. It does an excellent job keeping carbon off the front of my optic lens. So it's great. I really like it. And it has integrated rear irons, so I didn't have to worry about installing anything on there. Yeah. And then my front sight for suppressor height sight, Dawson Precision. That's who makes it. I kind of want to change this. I don't care too much for the red fiber optic in there. It's fine. I mean, I haven't had to use the irons at all, and it looks good enough. I kind of just want something. It's got kind of a weird shape. I want something that is a little bit more, I don't know, stout looking. Sig suppressor height sights are pretty nice. I think I might put one of those on here eventually. But it does the job. There's no real reason to change. So the grip module is a Sig AXG grip module that I painted with Airvo Field Drab. When Sig came out with the AXG grip module, I thought that's really cool, and I got to handle one at a Shields, an AXG Sig P320. I was like, man, the feel of that AXG grip module, amazing. I loved it. And I like the regular, P320 grip. It was fine, but I was pretty sold. However, the price tag on those is insane. It was like $400 when they came out. I found one lightly used on Reddit for like $200, snagged it, and then painted it Airvo Field Drab because I liked the dual FDE 50 Shades of Brown kind of deal. That Scar vibe is pretty sick. So having some mismatched FDE Coyote Brown on there is pretty cool. And then I found the FDE grips on Sig's websites, the grip panels. Yeah, so XG module is awesome. I don't think it's worth $400, but if you can find one lightly used or just from somebody for $200, I think it's worth it. Going to the inside of the gun and the guts, my trigger is a Apex Tactical flat trigger with the forward set trigger bar from, like I said, Apex Tactical. The trigger's awesome. I'm not sold on flat triggers on handguns. For like all my handguns, I generally prefer a flat trigger. At this point, I was just kind of experimenting with what I liked. Maybe I could try something new. And now my muscle memory is pretty well trained with this flat trigger, and it's good. We'll show you just. It's got a pretty short reset. Sorry, we'll go from this angle. Yep. So it's a good upgrade. It's like $150, and I like the feel. I like the shorter reset. I don't really have a problem with the original P320 trigger, but just trying to find something new and maybe upgrade. Works great, no malfunctions. My light is a Surefire X300 Ultra B, so it's got the steel clamp mount. I originally had the A model that has the plastic mounting system that's like tension based, and it was wobbly. It didn't fit the grip module right. So I found that to be the case on anywhere I've read on the internet, that pretty much everybody says the A model for the X300s does not fit well in the P320 grip modules. So the B model is the way to go, and it's sturdier in my opinion. The steel clamp on there with the screw, way more secure than the A model, that plastic clamp. So barrel is just a Sig P320 full size 4.7 inch barrel. Yeah, I love this gun. My first handgun purchase, could never imagine letting it go. So going over how to suppress it. So my first two suppressor purchases were a Yankee Hill Turbo K for my 5.56 MCX and a Rugged Obsidian 9. And first time shooting the Rugged Obsidian on this, all I did is I just bought a threaded barrel, and then I took the Obsidian to the range with this, and no cycling. It did not cycle. So, which is to be expected. It was my first time kind of diving into suppressing handguns, obviously. Did some research, and I'll just give you the short of it. Found that I had to get a Gray Guns fat guide rod and a 1911 12-pound recoil spring, combined with Freedom Munitions Hush 147 grain subsonic ammo with white lithium grease on the booster of the Rugged Obsidian 9. Let me pull it off here. That combination allowed me to shoot the M17 suppressed with no issues. Obviously, my threaded barrel's not on here. I have two separate barrels for this because I have a different P320 that I suppress pretty exclusively now. I don't suppress this anymore. This is my like primary secondary. So this one lives with a regular P320 barrel, but I keep the threaded barrel on my guide rod and 12-pound recoil spring in case I want to shoot it, and I'd rather have it than not have it. And P320 barrels aren't that expensive, so just put that in there with the original guide rod and recoil spring. Anyway, it will cycle with regular 115 grain, 124 grain 9mm. It's not a must to have the subsonic ammo, but it does help. But with the fat guide rod, 12-pound 1911 recoil spring, and white lithium grease on the booster of the Obsidian, I can shoot anything, and it holds my slide open on last round every time. And yeah, it's a lot of fun. So P320 can be a great suppressor host. It just requires some aftermarket parts and there's a bit of a learning curve, which is to be expected with suppressing a handgun. So I figure really quick I'll go over my if this is my secondary, then I'll how do I carry it. So I use a Safariland 6390 RDS holster with Safariland's QLS and ALS system. Awesome holster. Oh, and then I have the OTD nub mod on there, just a fatter I can't remember this ALS. I don't freaking remember what Safariland calls other stuff. The QLS is the fork system, right? And the ALS is the automatic locking system, I think. So yeah, good little upgrade for the Safariland. Yeah, great holster. Love it to death. I'll make a different video going over my belt setup. I'll mention really quick that I also got a bunch of 21 round mags. Awesome. I've also been using the new Magpul P320 steel mags, and they run great. I've had no issues with them. I bought 6 of them, and every single one of them have ran flawlessly. So if anybody was wondering, they work great, at least in my experience. So P320 is a fun platform. You can really make it your own. I know a lot of people build like aftermarket Glocks, but I feel like from what I know about aftermarket Glocks and the people that I know that build Glocks that aren't really Glocks, just made with all aftermarket stuff, I feel like they constantly are having reliability issues. I've never had a reliability issue with this outside of attempting to suppress it. And now that I've worked out the kinks of suppression, I haven't had any issues since then either. So, great pistol. Say what you will about P320, drop safety, blah, blah, blah. Sig fixed that after the first generation of the P320 with that old trigger and stuff. So, I've never had an issue with this. I have dropped this pistol running, doing running and gun stuff. I've fallen on it wearing my holster. I've never had a problem. So just be safe, keep your finger off the trigger when you don't intend to shoot, and take good care of your firearms, and they'll take care of you. Anyway, cool pistol.